I'm Anthony Pico. I lived on the Viejas Reservation my entire life, except for a couple of years, 1966, 1968, when I was drafted into the Army and went to Vietnam, and proudly served in the United States Army as an airborne infantryman, and lived in the jungle a long time and learned a lot there. I knew I was Native American. I knew we were very poor. I started to understand that we were different in that the way we were treated in Alpine school. I felt the prejudice in school, and I think that the kids reflected that prejudice from their parents. Racial prejudice. They used to call us dirty, stinking Indians. The whites and the blacks had the same restrooms, but the Indians had different restrooms. That happened because the majority of the people, including the students and the teachers, felt that we were inferior, that we were not very smart, and because of our poverty, we were, according to them, at least I think they felt we were very different, and that started to weigh heavily on the Indian kids.
My name is Leon Williams. I was born in Oklahoma. My parents moved to Bakersfield in the 30s because of the great Dust Bowl situation in Oklahoma, and I grew up in Bakersfield and went to high school in Bakersfield, came to San Diego at the graduation of high school. One of the first experiences I had, I came down on a Greyhound bus, and I got off the Greyhound bus. The station was down in what still is, I guess, the Pickwick Hotel, and it was late in the afternoon, and I wanted a room, and I went to the Young Men's Christian Association downtown and asked for a room, and they said, "You can't stay here. You're the wrong kind." Well, it was pretty humiliating. San Diego's pretty strongly segregated. As a matter of fact, I was unable to not only to get that room in a YMCA, but I couldn't eat in a restaurant downtown. They would have these civil agreements that this property can't be sold to anybody other than whites. And then they would exclude African Americans and Asians and Hispanics and Malays and Jews. They were all excluded under these restrictive covenants, and they were enforced by the courts.
Some of the things my uncle taught me were very important was to plan ahead, to look ahead, to envision what the future is going to be all about, to be tenacious and not give up, and work hard. As time went along, the elders on the reservation asked me to be their leader. This was before 1983, and when you're asked to do something, especially by the elders, you do it. And they asked me to help them develop an economic base. And so I figured, well, okay, maybe I can do that, you know, because my uncle taught me how to envision. He taught me how to believe in if I wanted to do something, I could believe it and then do it and make it happen. So I figured, you know, okay, that might take, a few years to do. I didn't realize it would be 20 years later before that actually happened.
And there was a group of people who got themselves together. They called themselves BOM, Black Oriental Mexican Brothers. They had a convention over in Southcrest Park, and they had a number of people talk. A vacancy occurred on the city council, and they were pushing the city council to select a minority person, especially black, because they thought, well, we'll reach to the bottom of the excluded pile and try to break the problem. And so they selected me, and the council appointed me. One member of the city council turned to me one day, sitting right next to me, he says, "Leon, I hate everything you stand for." And a lot of them never voted with me. A few of them never voted with me on anything. And I had a slogan that together we can do more. So I had to convince them that let's do things for our common best interest, and not to be adversarial and angry and hostile and name-calling. We should all learn as much as we can about the world around us, I believe, and be factual about it, get our prejudices out, and be as fair as we can to everybody.
I don't believe I'm a whole lot different than anybody else out there in San Diego. We're all human beings, and we're all here, and we all have feelings, we all have aspirations, we all have futures. Those are the commonalities for all of us. I'm looking at the 7th generation from the day I was born. That's 175 years from the day I was born. And in order to see that seventh generation, you have to love those people that are not yet born.